Hey y'all, this is going to be a really hard video to film. I'm going to tell the story behind this video. If you're not interested in hearing it, feel free to hop forward till you actually see a ration pop on the screen. For those of you that stick around, this is hard to talk about. This is something I have not really talked about or discussed with people for a long time. Something I actually try to avoid discussing and talking about, but at the urgings of some people who are more knowledgeable than I am, I've decided to basically tell the story. So, most of you know, if you've been watching my channel, you know I've been posting videos for roughly about 7 years. The first video I posted was a Spanish ration, a Spanish dinner ration. But what most people don't know is that's not the first thing I filmed. Before I started doing the videos, I was very active in the MRE info community on the forum, doing picture reviews and everything like that. I did those for several years. Not sure exactly how long. And at the time, you know, the big three were Gundog, G Schultz, Kiwi Dude. Steve had not started yet, but it was right about when he was gonna start. A couple other smaller people that I think had started showing up at that time. So I'd managed, it was the first part of 2015. I'd managed to get my hands on a Russian White Star ration that, believe it or not, was still in date. Was happy about that, and I thought I would use that to start the recording journey, so to speak. So planned out, I had a weekend set up to where my nephew and his grandfather were coming down to help me do some yard clearing. We were clearing out a very brushy area behind the house. They were bringing down the tractor and the big mower called the bush hog, so we could just knock it all out in one go. So we had that planned for, you know, a Sunday morning in the spring. And it was about the same time I decided I was going to go ahead and try to do a video ration review. So while I was waiting on them to get here, I went ahead and set everything up that morning. Pulled out the Russian ration. I filmed the first part of the video talking about it, the unboxing. Didn't get to try anything. They got there about that time, so save the rest of it for later, because if you've watched my videos, you know you've seen my nephew in a couple of them. So, you know, I figured I could try them, he could try them, you know, kind of get a good idea. So, well, so for those of y'all that have watched through my videos are probably sitting there thinking to yourself right now, I've never seen a Russian ration on his site. It's because I've never done one. Got interrupted that day by a little bit of an incident. The area that we were clearing was behind the house, behind a wooden fenced area. At the back of the fence, you know, there was a 6-foot tall wooden fence. There was a gate that led to that back area where they were back there clearing. I had went out. I can't remember if I'd went to check on progress, take them water. I'm not sure exactly what I was doing, but if you've ever been around a bush hog, and if you've ever seen the big mowers they use on the sides of the highways, that's a bush hog, in case you're not familiar. It's a one-person job, and you don't really need more people around because they're very dangerous pieces of equipment. So I had stepped back to check on them, see how they were doing. Was coming back through the fence, closing this 6-foot tall gate, when apparently something flew out from under the bush hog. And what makes it unique was the fact that at the time, the bush hog was coming towards us, or coming towards where I was. So normally, with mowers, everything is slung out the back. Somehow, something came out the front of the bush hog, through the safety chains that hang there just for that reason, managed to thread a 1-foot wide gap in a 6-foot tall fence with a gate that was in the process of being closed. That's why it was only about a 1-foot gap, and hit me in the face. To answer your first question, yes, I was wearing safety gear. I had safety glasses on at the time, ANSI approved safety glasses. And according to the doctor, that may have actually saved my life. We still don't know exactly what hit me. Whatever it was hit me hard enough that it shattered my safety lenses. Drove pieces of the lens into my eye, shattered the occipital bones around my eye socket, and drove a piece of wood into my forehead that had to be surgically removed. Y'all give me just a second. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, folks. I had to take a second. So yeah, I got everybody's attention. 911 was called. Ambulance showed up. Took me to the local hospital. They basically, when they got me to the local hospital, the surgeon came in, they did basic triage, and then asked which trauma center I wanted to go to because they could not handle my injuries. So then back on the ambulance, back to another ride to a different hospital, Erlanger in Chattanooga, if anybody's familiar with it. They have a wonderful ocular surgeon, eye surgeon, whatever the technical term is. She did some masterful work, removing the shards from my eye and doing what repair work she could. But ever since that day, May 3rd, 2015, I've been blind in my left eye. And it's something I have a lot of trouble talking about. It's still something I have a lot of trouble dealing with, even now, 8 years later. But another thing that I have not been able to do, I have not been able to touch a Russian ration since that day. I have purchased a couple with the intention of, trying to get over that hump, so to speak, and it never happened. But I finally made the decision. It has been 8 years. It's time to face the stigma head on. So that's the story of the first review that was lost and never published. And no, I don't still have the footage. I went back and I looked, and unfortunately, I'm not sure what device it was on, because I had a couple of different devices I was recording on at the time, and I know it wasn't saved to any of my normal saving spots, so hey, it's gone. So, whew, okay, so having said that, today, thanks to Canadian Trucker, we are going to do a review of an IRP single meal Russian ration. This one has a production date of August 24th, 2020. The best by date, as you can see there, was May 19th, 2022. So not quite a year out of date, but pretty close. But then again, this is a civilian, mostly civilian ration from what I understand. I'll throw up some pictures of the contents list translated for you. You should be able to see these over here right about now. As you can see, this thing's still wrapped, still good to go. So let's pop her open and see what's inside. Here we go. Ooh, this is hard. Alright, I forgot to bring a trash bag over here with me. Yeah, that's alright. So the one thing that I thought was funny, this is actually just a sheet of paper. So we'll set that right there. We've got the box here. It's just a standard pop open box. Alright, first thing we have is, wow, even by Russian standards, that's kind of sad. That's literally not even a whole cloth napkin. I'm sorry, folks, that's funny. Alright, and this should be, if I remember correctly, this is going to be the cheese. We'll double check that information. No, this is the isotonic beverage drink. Alright. We got the apple jam, apple butter, apple whatever they want to call it. But as you can see, it's pretty obviously apple there. Alright. This is going to be the wet nap. Wet wipe, however you want to call it. We've got our condiments here. We've got 20 grams of sugar. That's a lot of freaking sugar. Not sure what they want you to use all that for. Pepper. And of course, when you get pepper, you gotta have salt. Have our black tea. The infamously stale Combat crackers. That's a different brand than I'm used to seeing in the videos. I don't think I've seen that one before. That's going to be curious. But you can see the date there, 1905-2020. And yeah, it's 2 years before that, so that must be what they're basing that off of. Got this lovely little document right here. I'll see if I can translate that and toss it up there. We had a spoon that was El Cheapo Plastico. Yeah, very flimsy. Not surprised it broke. We'll just go ahead and toss it in the trash right now. I got plenty of MRE spoons we can use. And Kawa is beef, so this is going to be a beef meal. So I'm going to see if I can get a couple of translations here real quick and get this stuff heated up. Be back in a moment. And we'll get all this out and have ourselves a nice little dinner. Be right back, y'all. Alright, y'all, got everything set up. Got the beef stew heated up. Opened up our vitamin drink packet or whatever this is. The smell is peach. I know that much. So it smells like a peach isotonic drink. Trust me. I worked in produce for several years, unfortunately. Oh boy, I can tell the smell of a peach a mile away. Alright, and I already got the tea, got a head start on it. Yeah, y'all Brits go crazy. Yes, I'm dunking my bag. Leave me alone. And the one thing I didn't do, though, is I did not add any sugar yet. This is a lot of sugar. Not gonna lie. Tear off just a corner of it, so because I know I'm not going to be using all of this. All right. I think that better be it. All right, let's fold this up here. We'll save the rest of that for coffee tomorrow or something. All right, so we got our cheese here. I'm usually a big fan of cheese, so we're going to see how we feel about this. Because I've had some Russian cheese before. Not a ration type meal, but actually from one of the international markets down in Atlanta. And to me it was kind of mild, but wasn't bad. So I'm going to be curious about this. All right, so first good sign. Nothing wrong with it, so to speak. Smells like pasteurized processed cheese spread, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to go ahead and get this popped open. I got it nice and warm, but not too hot. It was beef with buckwheat, if I remember the thing correctly. You definitely see a lot of fat in it. Oh. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can see how much oil's coming out of that. That's funny. Yep, definitely beef with buckwheat. Nice size portion can, though. Gotta admit that. Apparently it didn't heat up quite as much as I wanted it. That's good and warm. It's just solid. Nice. That's warm. All right, let's check our biscuits, see if they're bad, because I know these things, from what I hear, have a habit of going bad on us. Smell, I don't know. Smell kind of unusual. Not sure if that's a good smell or a bad smell. Just definitely a different smell for sure. All right, so let's find out real quick. How can something be stale and rock hard at the same time? That's just amazing for that simple fact. Forgot to do this before I emptied that. That was my fault. Well, here, this little piece of a napkin will come in handy. Get some of the grease off. we go. Yeah, that smelled exactly like peach drink I've had. Like I say, I worked in a produce market for a couple of years. Produce market, Middle Georgia, you deal with a lot of peaches. Peaches in the summer, pecans in the winter, and watermelons. Watermelons are fun. Light flavor, but yeah, definitely get some peach out of that. Alright, well, let's start off with a bit of a snack first. See how this does. Alright, well that answers that first question. The cheese is kind of firm. Definitely got a bit of waxiness to it. Smells like a light version of the cheddar cheese spread, and you find an MRE to be exact. So, not bad. I admit, not bad. It's actually got a pretty decent, sharp, cheddarish type taste. I'm halfway impressed by that. It's not bad at all. I'll definitely eat on that. All right, you stay there. Let's try this apple jam. I'm going to knead it up a little bit first. All right, this one has a nice little tear notch there. Make sure we keep a small hole. Oh yeah, that's a nice thick jam. I like the way that looks. That looks nice. Well, you see why people now refer to this both as apple jam and apple butter, because yeah, honestly, it's like a cross between the two. It's not quite as, what's the word I'm looking for here? I hate to use the term mealy just because it sounds bad, but you know, with apple butter, it's got that, you know, you can taste particles in it of the apple. Whereas with apple jam and apple jelly, you get more of the, you know, solidified juice and less of the particulate matter. This is kind of somewhere in between the two. It's actually pretty good. I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a big apple butter fan. I really don't eat apple butter or applesauce, either one. There's something about the texture of them with that particulate matter just kind of gets to me. But this, I don't know. This I can actually, this I don't really mind. Still puzzled. How the hell those crackers can be so hard yet so stale at the same time? All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do up a couple of these, because this will end up being dessert. See if any of the moisture can soak into the crackers and help loosen them up a little bit. We'll just use that can over there as our trash can. That'll actually work out perfectly. Alright, before I do any seasoning or anything, let's give this a try. Alright. I know that's buckwheat. The texture is different. But y'all Southern folks are going to go along with me on this, or y'all soul food aficionados are going to understand this as well. That's dirty rice. That tastes just like good old-fashioned dirty rice. And if you've never had dirty rice, that's some good stuff. Oh man, that's some good stuff. But it's got that meaty flavor, but you can also tell that some of the it's got that hint of liver that comes through that you get from dirty rice. That's one of the things that make it so succulent. Yeah, except for the actual structure of the buckwheat, that's dirty rice in a nutshell. All right, so it looks like we got a piece of beef right here. Let me rephrase that. Looks like we got a piece of beef right here. Sorry, I had to do that. Beef's not bad. It's actually get more flavor out of the buckwheat than you do the beef itself. Tastes like a can, almost like a canned corned beef to me, without the salt. It doesn't have much of a salt level, so let's fix that real quick. We got a little bit of pepper. Again, teeny tiny hole, better than control. I think that's what old Smokey and Gun Dog say. I know it doesn't look like there's much going out, but it is. Hey, you can see on the cheese really good. That's about half that pack of pepper. All right, let's get a little salt flowing here. All right. All right, before we do that, real quick palate cleanser. See, the Russians do a good tea. It's not too strong. It's not too bitter. Let it steep for a while. Got some good tea going. Can't really go wrong with that. I got to give them props on that. Okay. So try a bit of this with the salt and pepper. Yeah, it's much better. Still need something though, because it is very dry. Could use a little bit more. Well, I mean, got all the grease in the bottom. Maybe that'll last few bites that'll soak up, but could definitely use a little something. I'm surprised they don't offer any sort of hot sauce or ketchup or something like that in here. It's kind of surprising. All right, so just out of curiosity. Not too bad with the cheese. Not too bad, so. All right, well, let me give this a try real quick. It does look like everything went together. See that unusual color? That's, I don't know if that's yellow or green or yellowish green or what, so. Peach and pear. You smell the peach really good, but when you drink it, you get a cross between peach and pear. All right, well, folks, 8 years in the making. Really hard video to film, but thank y'all for taking the time to watch it with me and listen to what I had to say. I'm going to go ahead and finish up my dinner. Uh, so, y'all enjoy. Have a good one.